Good morning, everybody all over the world. This is Rusty 78609 in Central Texas, USA, and it is a zippity doo-dah day. Zippity doo-dah, zippity a. My, what a beautiful day. Plenty of sunshine, plenty all day. Zippity doo-dah, zippity a. Mr. Sunshine's on my shoulder. Anyway, enough said about all that. Now that I'm going directly into the sun, which it always, it can't be that the sun comes up in every direction, can it? Because it seems like I'm always headed into the sunlight. But having said that, this is Park Road 4 in Central Texas, USA. It is 9:31 a.m. Central Standard Time. Temperature is 44 top up degrees. It's a little windy and cool, and that's why I'm going to do my walking at Walmart. And I could have done it at home, but I didn't want to bundle up so much. Anyway, I got to pick up a package at Walmart. And what else is going on? Had a lot of comments. I appreciate all that. I really do. A lot of helpful comments for me. A lot of stuff related to the new car cooler that I got. I got me a Dometic 21TC cooler from Amazon for $172 delivered. And I've had it for 2 days, and I've had it on, and I've tested all the settings at different temperatures. Yesterday, up here it was like 86 degrees in the shade outside, so I set the cooler out on the patio in the 86 degrees ambient temperature. And at level 4, there's 7 cooling settings. And I had it on setting 4, and it was maintaining 48 degrees, which is perfect. Very good. And overnight, I tested it, and we got a guy up here in the road with a sign that says, stop. But anyway, overnight I tested it on level 1. Good, I get to go. Thank you. He's got a tough job. He's got to turn that sign from stop to slow. But anyway, I tested it on setting 2 overnight, and it held at 52 degrees on setting 2. And the ambient temperature in the house last night was probably 70, 68, in that range. And that's about what it'll be when I go camping, so overall the cooler works fine. But that's not what I want to talk about. Let me give you some other information about coolers, okay? This is one. This guy's about as dumb as a stick, and he gets out with his hand up. Anyway, enough said about that. But anyway, this is going to be Cooler Session 101 for any of you people that are interested in getting you a car cooler. Let me tell you what I have learned. Okay, number 1, all the car coolers, well, they all have slightly different functions, but they all use approximately the same amount of energy. There's a slight variation, not a whole lot. Mine, the Dometic, and some of the other higher priced units have an automatic cutoff if the input voltage drops below 11 volts. And supposedly that will save your car battery from complete depletion. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to start your car. All right, that's what else I found out, because I've tried to find out, well, if it cuts off at 11 volts and I get up in the morning with an 11 volt battery, will it start the car? Answer, nobody knows. Nobody. It says, well, in this case maybe, in that case maybe, it depends on this, depends on that, age of the battery, all the crap. So you don't want to be somewhere camping in the boonies 100 miles from civilization or more and relying on an assumption like, well, it might, or it could. There have been those cases where it did. Well, that ain't going to get it. When you get up and it goes, roar, roar, Nothing, okay? So, for you people getting a cooler, the answer to the question, will it drain your car battery to the point that it will not start? You'll have to find that out on your own, okay? Because nobody can tell you. I Google searched till my Google search was broke, and it was all crap. I mean, not crap. It was useful information. Everybody had mathematical formulas for determining, how long you could run it and all this stuff. But yeah, that's how long you can run the cooler. That's not how long you can run the cooler without draining your battery to the point that the car will not start. Totally different question. So, and I read some comments by truck drivers, but an 18-wheeler is a whole different story. Diesels have a number of batteries, okay? Gasoline-powered vehicles normally have one 12-volt battery for starting the car. That's what I've got. And the next question is, on a Prius, would it, have any impact on the drivetrain batteries or the lithium-ion batteries that propel the car? Answer, no. So what you can do in a Prius that is different from some of the other vehicles is you can leave your vehicle in the on position at night, like say you were going to run the air conditioner or run the heater, but not run the air conditioner or heater if the weather is nice, and just have the car in the on position. And then if the battery levels drop down to a certain level, the car will start up automatically and charge battery. It'll do that. This car will do that. It will. So, what I have decided to do is leave my Prius in the on position when I am camping overnight and have the cooler on setting number 2 just to keep the stuff around 50 degrees or so, which is very good. And here's another option. This will really confuse you. You can get a separate deep cycle battery with a certain amount of amp hours. And boy, when you get into the amp hours, you really get into some math. But if you get you say a 50 amp deep cycle battery, deep cycle batteries are better for running the cooler than the 12 volt car battery. Why? Because it's the way the batteries are designed. Now, I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it because I'm not too sure about it. I'm just telling you what I found out. A deep cycle battery is better for running the cooler while camping than the car battery. That's when if the car is running, not a problem. But when you have the car off, let's just say you stayed at a campsite all day long and all night long, and the car was off, well, so is your cooler if it's plugged into the cigarette lighter. But if it's hooked up to a 12 volt deep cycle battery, it's still running. Not a problem. So that looks like a real easy solution, right? Hell, I'll just get me a 50 amp hour deep cycle battery. I've got a spot for it because they make some fairly small looking deep cycle batteries, because they put them in these little cars that kids drive and other things. So you can get some pretty compact deep cycle batteries that will work with the cooler and keep it going for 48 hours. Probably. However, then you go to step 2. Now that I have this deep cycle battery and I've got it hooked up to my cooler, what do I do when the deep cycle battery is low? How do I charge it? I'll get a charger that plugs into the cigarette lighter and has some little alligator clips, and while I'm driving around, that will charge the battery. Great idea. Guess what? That'll blow the fuse on your car. Not in all cases. Depends on the size of the fuse. Or you could get you an inverter that plugs into the cigarette lighter and get you some alligator clips that plug into that and then hook up on the battery, and that'll charge it. But it also might blow the fuse on your car. So there you are, stranded on the side of the highway with a dead battery and a dead car. So you see how the whole issue was to get away from having to buy ice. And I've created this monster. It keeps growing. He's getting bigger and bigger. And somebody's going to suggest, well, I got an idea. Get you a little solar suitcase thing that puts out about 25 watts or whatever for $100 or whatever they sell them for, and use that to charge your battery when you're at your campsite. Wonderful idea. Okay, you set your little 100-watt deal out on the ground and you go take you a hike. And you come back and there's a little note that says, thank you very much for your solar panel. And it's gone. Or, I had a suggestion one time a year ago, and somebody said, well, while you're driving down the highway, just put your solar panel up on the hatch back window. You know, get you a small one that fixes there, and then let it trickle charge the battery while you're driving. A damn good idea. However, the hatchback window in a Prius is dark tinted, so you lose about 40% of your solar power right there. This thing goes on and on and on, doesn't it? I mean, it's like the never-ending chain. But so the simplest and most logical solution for me, it appears, after researching my little hiney off, is just to leave the car in the on position overnight so that it does not drain the battery. Now, during the day, I do take walks for exercise and other things, and the car is off. Okay? Because, you know, I don't want to go take a walk and leave the car in the on position, you know, so that somebody opens the door and drives off in my car along with my solar panel and my deep cycle battery and my cooler. Then I really don't have a problem, right? Problem solved. Problem's completely solved at that point. So, but all this started out just to keep me from buying ice. And to avoid buying ice, I had to buy a $172 cooler, a Dometic 21TC cooler. And I thought, well, that's that. All you got to do is plug it in a cigarette lighter and go. That's what I thought. And the more I got to researching it, the more I realized that to get away from buying a $2 bag of ice, I may end up spending $1,000. God damn. But, you know, there is no certainty. See, a lot of people are going to reply and say, well, you know, you can run it overnight, I think. Or, yeah, I had one time that, you know, and I used it overnight and I didn't have a problem at all. Or I went out camping one time, we had a deep cycle battery and it ran it for a week. Or, you know, I'm going to get all kind of comments. But the comment I want to see is this one. Rusty. I had a Dometic 21TC in a 2013 Prius hooked to my 12-volt battery direct so that it would run all day long without having to have the car in the on position, and it never drained the battery, and I was gone camping for a year. That is the comment I want to see. Now, but I don't want to just see it because somebody wrote it. I want to see it because somebody did it. You know what I mean? Because I can get a little connector for the battery with some little alligator clamps and hook it up to the battery, and it's got a little female plug for the 12-volt deal. And that's ideal because, see, that way the cooler is on all the time. All the time. Whether the car is on or off, the cooler would be on. And that's what I want. And the only way to get around that is to get a separate battery, a deep cycle battery, and use it. And that's wonderful. But then you got to charge that battery sooner or later. How long does it take to charge it? Huh? What can you charge it with? Huh? Without blowing a fuse in your car. The only other option is to go to solar. I think. Yeah. That's it. You know, they make a thing that plugs into your cigarette lighter that you can use to air up tires, and it's got a little thing that'll jump start your car. But, you know, that thing still has to be charged itself. So, but be that as it may, this is February the 2nd, I think. Is that right? Thursday, February the 2nd? Yeah. February the 2nd, 2017. And for you people that are looking for a car cooler, 12 volt, not a refrigerator, just a cooler, well, let me tell you, you better check it out. Now, you know, just for, you know, let's just say you were just going to travel from point A to point B, or you were traveling in the morning to work or whatever, you know, and you just wanted to keep some stuff cool, and then you carried your cooler in and plugged it into an outlet in your office. Not a problem. Not a problem. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But for going camping and having the car off, in the off position, completely off, then when I turn my car off, the cigarette lighter does not work. Okay? There's no power to the cigarette lighter when the car is off, period. But I can connect directly to the 12 volt battery in the rear. But I don't want to run the battery down to the dead where it won't start the car, because I get in some places sometimes that it'd be pretty hard to tell Geico emergency road service where I was when I wasn't sure myself. Okay? And besides that, even though they'll tell you they'll get to you, they don't. Because I was out in Big Bend one time living on the Terlingua Ranch in the middle of nowhere, and I had a flat on my pickup, and I thought, well, hell, I'll just call Geico Emergency Road Service. They'll send somebody out and fix it. So I called them, gave them the location best I could, and anyway, they said, yeah, they have somebody there in about an hour. Well, about an hour went by, and my phone rang, and it was a guy from Geico. He said, we can't find anybody that'll go out to where you are. I said, well, man, that's a hell of a deal. They couldn't find anybody that would drive to my location, period. So they did also tell me that if I got it fixed, just send them the bill, and they would reimburse me. I did. I sent them a bill for over $300. And they reimbursed me. They did. They really did. So here we are coming into Marble Falls, Texas on Highway 281 in Central Texas, USA. Population of Marble Falls, about 6,000 or so. And it's a nice day. The high today is supposed to be like 64. We had a little cool front come through, and then it'll gradually warm up. And next week we're supposed to be back in the mid-80s for the highs and the 50s for the lows, that's normal, folks. That is NORMAL, normal. But having said that, I'm going to end this video, and hopefully I don't punch the wrong button, because if you do, that video, it corrupts that file, and you cannot upload that video. I promise you. So, thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye from Central Texas, USA, by USA, made when you can. Take deep breaths. It does relieve stress. Drink plenty of water. That's very important. 3 quarts to a gallon a day will not hurt you. Stretch your muscles and walk for exercise, and you will probably be around long enough to see what happens when I go camping with my 12 volt cooler, and I do a video showing you my last gasping breath as I'm trying to walk out of the desert somewhere in Nevada. Bye, guys. Adios.